Hi. The film begins with an introverted young man named Max, who loves isolation and always sits alone. The reason for this is that he is very sad about the death of his father, so his mother calls him to help her move the bags, and it appears that he is upset with her because they move the house to a new place every now and then, without knowing the reason, and this always makes him feel that his mother is hidden. He has a dangerous secret, especially since she didn't tell her that his father had died. What's important is that at night, Max enters his room and looks at a picture of himself when he was young with his father, and suddenly, something very strange happens, which is that electrical charges come out of his hand that affect the television screen. Max is surprised at how this happened and concludes that he might have supernatural powers. On the second day, he was riding his bike to go to school, so he passed by the technology company that his father used to work for, and it was called a company. At that time, his mother called him to check on him, and before he answered her, more electrical waves came out of his hand, making the mobile phone buzz, so he made Max understand that he had an electrical force acting on him, on all devices, and then he walks in the wheel to go to school, but suddenly a car appears in front of the road and is about to hit it, so Max changes the path of the wheel and falls on the ground, but nothing happens to him, so his owner of the car comes to check on him and apologizes to him for what happened and informs him that her name is Sophia and she studies with him in the same school. She agrees with him that she will meet him after school to fix the bike for him as a form of apology. In fact, Max meets her and rides with her in the car. She takes him to her father's store and repairs the bike for him. Max thanks her and returns home with his own. There, he finds his mother sitting with someone named Miles, so Miles talks to him and tells him that he is a friend. His father, who worked with him in a company, was with him when he died in an accident inside the company. At the same time, there are scientists in a production company who are surprised that an explosion occurs in the water tanks in which their experiments are kept. Suddenly, water particles fly in front of them and settle in the air, and they discover that there is a body in the water. A stranger is moving very quickly in the company and trying to escape, so one of the scientists calls security to prevent the strange object, but he easily escapes from them and leaves the company. We return the second of the Max, and he is surfing the internet, and this is to find out any information about the accident that happened to his father in the company, but he finds production. All the sites say that the accident was mysterious and that he may have died due to a severe tornado that happened inside the company. Max becomes upset and electrical charges come out of his hand. As soon as he closes his hand, he controls the electricity in the whole house. The next day he goes to the forest to practice his strength and tries to control the electrical appliances. But he fails. He is fond of lampshades and is amazed by his strength. When he returns home, he sits talking to his mother and asks her to tell him about the incident that happened to his father and how she knows him. He died, but she is from him and she refuses to know him. At that time, someone is watching Max from afar, and it turns out that it is the strange object that escaped from the company, and during the day he goes to sit with his colleague Sophia in a restaurant to get to know each other. Then she gives him her mobile phone and tells him to write down his number, but the strange thing is that the mobile phone gets dirty and does not work due to its electrical power. Suddenly, Mix feels a severe headache and goes into the bathroom. He is surprised that his eyes are shining and he feels that he is unable to control his power. So he leaves the restaurant quickly and goes He goes to the forest and is unable to bear the excess electricity in his body, so he screams loudly and the electricity comes out of his body in the form of his particles and he loses consciousness. When he wakes up, he finds himself in his room and a flying robot appears in front of him, telling him that his name is Steel. Max is very frightened and afraid of him, and he emerges from this robot, and he remains the body, the stranger who escaped from the company. And the developer recently was there and watching Max, so Max is very shocked when he finds that Ra knows everything about his electrical power, and they reassure Link and tell him that he is coming to protect him and wants to help him, and that he will absorb the excess electricity that is present in his body. So Max trusts him and takes him to the forest to ask them about the source of his power, and he learns everything from it. But suddenly he sees a car from which people come out armed, and they know that these people work in the company Antic and that they want to arrest him in order to conduct research and experiments on him. So Max rides his bike and they both run away until he goes to school and hides Steel in his bag, and after that when the school day ends, he takes him and they sit in a deserted place. Steel talks to him and tells him how to develop his abilities. Max begins to do what he tells him, and he discovers that he has very tremendous abilities. At that time, Steel merges with him and makes him wear a superhero suit. Max sees a part of Steel's memories and learns that he was his father's robot. When he separates from him, he asks him how his father died, and Steel tells him that part of his memories have been erased and he can't remember much. So Max decides to go to Miles, his father's friend, to find out from him the reason for his father's death. The important thing is that on his way, she passes Sophia in Arabic and is about to trip him again, but he avoids her in the process. At the last moment, you say to him, "Are you determined to trample you in the car or what?" Suddenly, Max sees a car for the same gang that was watching him and they want to take Steel from him. Runs the wheel quickly and stands hiding in a side street. He tells me that Steel will go and stop the gang until he reaches the Miles, and in fact, Steel walks away and Max moves on the wheel and finds him. Sophia is standing in front of him in the car and offers him to ride with her and take him to the place he wants. He actually agrees to ride with her and lets her go to a production company building. As soon as they arrive, Miles meets them and they ask Max how his father died. Max evades the question and it appears that he is hiding a dangerous secret. Suddenly Max feels intense because of the increased electricity. What is in his body comes out and runs quickly and leaves the company, and of course, Sophia does not understand anything about Max. At that time, Max arrives at a far place and is surprised that there is a storm and a tornado present in the place. He quickly hides under the raindrops and sees a car whose car is broken down on the road and the tornado is approaching her, so he runs quickly to save her and bring her down. He has his hand on the stroller and charges its battery using the electricity in his body. Stroller actually starts and the girl runs away from the place. At that time, the tornado approaches Max and a red eye appears inside him. Max discovers that this is still just a robot and that he is the one who controls the effects. Suddenly, they pull the robot towards him and he wants to finish him off, but Steel he comes to save him at the right time and merges with him so that he is wearing the super suit. They fight the robot and hit it with high electrical energy until they destroy it. Max goes to see the Link and finds him who looks exactly like Steel. Steel tells him that this is still an alien, not a robot, and that the creature they destroyed is still one of the aliens. An evil alien wants to occupy the planet. But Steel is completely different from the creatures of death, and he was helping Max's father to prevent them from occupying the planet Earth, so they interrupt Max. And he does not believe him and thinks he is an evil being like them. Then they leave and he returns home and he finds that the gang is standing in front of the house and he guesses that they took his mother, so he quickly goes home to Sophia. He asks her to give him her car so he can go find his mother, and she actually agrees and moves in the car. At that time, he talks to Miles on the mobile and tells him everything that happened. He starts asking him if he knows who this gang is. So Miles tells him that they might be trying to steal his father's inventions and that they took his mother to his father's old laboratory to tell them where the inventions are and sell them for millions of dollars. Max is convinced of his words and goes to the laboratory, where he finds a Steel on him and is completely disabled, so he sees his memories, and Max learns that his father had supernatural powers just like him, and at that time there were aliens trying to attack the Earth and wanting to occupy it. So he was forced to enter inside a device that he invented himself in order to increase his strength and fight the aliens. He and Steel, whom he considered his friend, but he was surprised that his friend, Miles, betrayed him and joined the aliens, withdrawing all his energy from the device, and before Max's father died, he erased part of Steel's memory and ordered him to protect his son, Max, because he would surely have supernatural powers like him. And after Max did not know what happened, shocks Miles, and he does not understand that he betrayed his father, and he concludes that he also wants to get rid of him in order to help the aliens as they are occupying the planet. Oh, suddenly, he finds Miles in front of him, and he is merging with an alien being wearing a super suit. And then Miles attacks him, hits him, and forces him to enter the device that draws energy, as it were. It happened with his father exactly. A very large electrical force was released from Max, causing Steel to overpower him again. Then he began to blend in with him and wake him up at the last moment, leaving him wearing a suit. Max gathered his strength and attacked Miles. And then the gang came to his aid and shot Miles. It actually became clear that the gang was working with his father. Max is the one who ordered them to watch him in order to protect him. At that time, Max is able to blow up Miles and completely kill him. At that time, he and Steel fall to the ground out of exhaustion. So his mother comes to check on him, and he is surprised that she knows Steel. On the second day, she tells him everything and tells him that his father was an alien in the form of a human all the time. She was moving from one house to another to protect him from the aliens because, unfortunately, they wanted to get rid of him. After a while, Max goes to talk to Sophia and thanks her for helping him, and in her hand is a drawing of a gift like he had drawn for her before. The two of them confess their love for each other and agree that they will meet at night. And then Max goes to wear a Steel suit. He is training to fly in order to prepare to save the Earth once again, and the movie will be finished. I hope that if you like it, you can appreciate our effort and like the video and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to follow us. And I will see you all well in another movie. Goodbye.